All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for our customer experience workshop. Today, I'm going to be joined by Gianna. I think she just arrived. Good morning, Gianna.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here. Gianna is a customer success manager here at Ruby. How long have you been in the customer success role?
About 2.5 years. Yeah. And then before that was in reception with you.
A renowned receptionist, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for taking the time to work through this worksheet with us. Before I bring Heather on, I think she's going to be here in just a second. For anybody who is with us right now, we have dropped a link to our customer workshop worksheet. So you can go through the worksheet while we talk today, or you can go ahead and look at it later. It looks like Heather's here too. Good morning, Heather.
Hi, good morning. Hi, Marky, and hi, Gianna.
Hello.
Hi.
Good to
Thank
see
you
you.
for
Great to see
virtually
you.
attending. Heather, you are Director of all things customer marketing here at Ruby. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And you also have a pretty extensive background in digital marketing as well as customer service, yeah?
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm
Well,
really
thank you so
happy.
much.
Let's get started.
All right, cool. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to go over kind of falls in my wheelhouse. I was a part of the employee experience team for a while here at Ruby. Employee experience at Ruby means that we're kind of the first people that you see when you walk into the office. So if you have downloaded the worksheet, the first thing that you're going to see is in the office section. So how do you create an exceptional customer experience for people who are actually walking into your physical space? For us here at Ruby, that starts with the greet, see, and treat principle. It's as easy and simple as it sounds. So you greet them, say hello, how are you, seat them into somewhere warm and comfortable, and then treat them. This might sound super simple, but I know that I have walked into many an office where I didn't have that experience of either being greeted by a human. I just kind of walked in waiting for somebody to see me or hear me, or seated, um, or treated. So at Ruby, that looked like the treating part looked like coffee, it looked like water. We had candy, we had fruit, we had breakfast bars. It doesn't need to be that intense, but just this idea of making the space your home and welcoming people into it, I think is really important. Um, that doesn't necessarily translate for everybody in everybody's offices right now, as we have moved into this very virtual world. COVID has made greet, seat, and treat a little bit more challenging, but the principle still applies. So if you have people coming into your office and you don't feel comfortable or safe giving them food, or they don't feel comfortable receiving it, there are ways to still anticipate their needs and proactively seek to fulfill them. So for me, and for many other business owners, well, I'm not a business owner, but for me and for business owners that I've spoken with right now during what we're dealing with the pandemic, people are really making sure that their customers are able to ask questions around health and safety protocols. And even more than that, they're taking it a step further by giving them that information or the opportunity to learn more about it right off of the get-go. So asking questions like, would you like more information about our health and safety protocols? Gives people the ability to feel comfortable within a space and relax. Like when I go to Trader Joe's and there's a line and I know exactly what I need to do every step of the way through that store, I feel like my safety is being considered and like I know immediately what I'm supposed to do in order to operate in that space, which is super helpful. Um,
Definitely.
I think so, yeah. And then Gianna, I have a quick question for you about that. So we have this great seat and treat idea when it comes to being in the physical office space. I know that you've spent a lot of your career on the phone. So how can you take that idea of meeting people's needs to the phone rather than an actual physical space?
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately at the end of the day, it's about creating experiences, right? Every opportunity you have to kind of make somebody feel more comfortable and more seen and known, whether that's in the office or on the phone, it translates the same. It almost is more important now that we can't see each other face to face outside of things like this, or we're masked most of the time. It's just, yeah, it's creating experiences either way. And so I started with Ruby on the reception end doing that, just kind of making people feel comfortable on the phone, being that like ambassador of first impressions as a receptionist. And now on the other side, in the customer success department, I consult with business owners to kind of develop those principles on their own, help them take that to their in-house team if they have one, or just do it themselves. And also help craft things like greetings and phrasing with receptionists that kind of match their business ethos and their vibe, what they try to create in office. And as you can see on the worksheet, we've kind of outlined that for you on how you can implement this in your office. The huge way that I want to start out with today is just having a consistent greeting. When you're answering the phone, people obviously can't see you and they're not walking into your business. You need to have a virtual front for that, and just be a welcoming presence on the phone. With Ruby and the way that we typically do that, we just basically develop really easy systematic greetings that have a few main components. So we always have, you can see it on the sheet itself. There's an introduction, there's saying hello, and there's thanking the person for contacting you because you want their business and they're coming to you. There's introducing yourself and your company, and then there's asking how you can help. So a great way, just an example of doing that would be something along the lines of, hello, thank you for contacting ABC Company. My name is Gianna. How may I help you? It's a consistent refrain that everybody can have, whether you're in the office or not. No one has to know because you're answering the phone the exact same way every time. Having a personal name attached to it is just a way to make it more human and remind them that they're working with a person who cares about them. And asking how you can help is a really great way to leave it open-ended for the person to tell you what they need and then you to go off of that. That's a really wonderful, again, that consistency piece is pretty key. And that's something that I harp on a lot with my customers. They probably get annoyed by it. I'm just like, consistency is key, especially when we're all remote and nothing is consistent. But we just I had an interaction with a customer just yesterday, where they ended up sending me an email just kind of praising one of our receptionists for just creating such a warm experience. The client who called in was a new client, did not know if the company was remote or in office. And ultimately, they ended up staying with the firm because of the experience that the receptionist was able to create just by being a warm person on the other end who listened to what they had to say and helped direct them in the right path. And ultimately, as a law firm, that just looked like listening to the person's story and figuring out what type of law it was and making sure that they knew that they were going to get connected to somebody who could help. And the client emailed the customer later on and said, I didn't go looking for other law offices after I contacted you because you were the first one who stopped and listened and wanted to help me and didn't make me feel like I was wasting their time or that they were too busy. And so it didn't even matter at that point that the office was completely remote and that they weren't talking to somebody who was physically there. What mattered is that there was a warm experience created immediately.
So it sounds like that brick and mortar greet, seat, and treat idea ends up being translated over the phone by not even sounding like you are virtual. Like you kind of sound like
Right.
You're maintaining that brick and mortar feel or the office feel, even while you're away, by doing something with that standard greeting. It also reminds me, I know that you and I have talked about this before, where people who are busy and who are small business owners and are hustling pick up the phone and they're like, hello?
Definitely.
Rather than like creating a standard greeting so the other person is on the line, like, I'm sorry.
Did I just call your house?
Yeah.
Where am
Or did
I?
I call my
Yeah.
phone?
Totally. We had this conversation earlier, but my mom, my entire life has been an entrepreneur with like 6 hands in 8 different places at all times. And that was something that I gave her so much guff about all my life because we'd be driving somewhere. She's a single mom who owns 3 businesses and we're driving somewhere and she's just like on the speakerphone in the car and just answers the phone, hello? Just like a shocked human. And it was like, Mom, oh my gosh, they're going to think like they called somebody who just got caught in the middle of something. And it was always just she eventually just kind of did move away from that and just into something a little softer and said her name, because her name was affiliated with everything. Something as simple as, "This is Celeste, how may I help you?" was like a game changer for everybody, because they knew who they were talking to. Even if they didn't know that she was the business owner, having a person say what their name is like an immediate, "Oh, okay, I've reached someone that can hopefully help me." You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it really matters. Also, just simple things like changing up some phrasing. We train our receptionists. We have Ruby tone, which basically just means making things more polite and warm, as polite and warm as you possibly can. So instead of saying things like, "Can I get your number?" it's, "May I have your number?" Or simple things like attentive listening and repeating things back to make the person feel heard. That just kind of goes along with the comfort. Even though you're not giving somebody a cup of coffee when they come into your office, you're giving them your attention, which is almost more valuable a lot of the time. Just that simple, "Great, thanks for calling. Thanks for calling Kyle." Just say their name back, make them feel like a person, and repeating back, "It sounds like you have a personal injury matter. I would really love to connect you with somebody who can help." Or, "I'm so sorry that your water heater just exploded. That's crazy. Let's talk." Like, let's get you help soon. And ultimately just following up, making a plan and sticking to it. That's a really foundational aspect of our service at Ruby, is just doing what you'll say you do, because it doesn't matter if you're the kindest person and you gave them expensive champagne when they walked into your office. If you're not following up with them afterwards and you're not doing what you say you'll do, none of the cool stuff matters, because they know that they can't trust you with the little things. So that's really key. Just saying, if you're going to call somebody back after your meeting, call them back after your meeting, or give them a time frame and stick to it. And even if you can't stick to it in the middle of it, shoot them a text saying, "I'm so sorry, I got caught up. Would 3 p.m. work instead?" Just keeping up that communication. If they can trust you with the little things, they can trust you with replacing your windows in your house or your $15,000 lock case,
Yeah, absolutely. That's super important. That follow-up piece I know has been critical for me when I'm making decisions about which attorney I'm going to go with, as something as big as that, or who's going to come fix, maybe not my water heater. I haven't had an exploding water heater yet, but with anything that has to do with the house, we've had the outside painted a couple times, and ultimately ended up passing on people who weren't responsive or following up in the time that they said that they would. It sounds like you're really getting to these points of listening when you're on the phone, empathizing, and repeating information so that people are hearing you hear them.
Totally. That's key.
Awesome. So something that I will mention is we have a guide for anybody who's interested in more tips and tricks for customer experience that pairs really well with this worksheet. So it's at this little scrolling thing down here. You can check it out and it's a full comprehensive customer service audit checklist, which covers everything from your phone to your office, to the infrastructure that you have in place to follow up and to give customers, to deliver on the promise of your service. So that is a great resource if you're needing it. We do actually have one question from the audience. Banner, question from the audience. So the first one is, we don't have an office anymore. How does this apply? I imagine that this being the Greet, Seat, and Treat idea. Heather, I think that this is a great place for us to transition to your realm. So what do you think in terms of your digital experience? How does Greet, Seat, and Treat move into this digital world that we find ourselves in now?
Yeah, it definitely transfers to your website. And so you can think of your website as essentially being your storefront, your front office, that first impression that your customers or your potential customers are going to get when they search for you. And so we know this trend has been happening over many years, that more people are going digital, more people are Googling, nobody has a phone book anymore. And we've seen a lot of great solutions come out for small businesses to get websites. I started my career in marketing, helping small businesses create websites. And it was a huge financial investment for them to pay a designer, a developer, or a firm $15,000, $20,000 to get a website up. Fast forward to today, you could get one up this afternoon. Really easy. There's a lot of solutions out there. And so there's really, I think, no excuse not to have a website anymore, because people are going on the web to look for your business. And so once, you make a website, and I'm not going to get on my SEO soapbox right now, but definitely making it easy to find. But Google actually has a really great tool for that, which is a Google business profile. And so in the worksheet under have you updated my Google My Business is what it's called. There's a video you can watch to help you set up your profile. But really quickly, then if somebody Googles your business, they get all of your contact information. You can update it with new hours of operation for COVID. I found that really helpful during COVID for restaurants to know, are they doing dine-in? Are they doing takeout? Are they, and then I want to click through to their website to see their menu. So they really can work well in tandem. But I think having a website that invites people in to learn more about you, they want to know two things. Can you solve the problems they have? And do you vibe with them? Is your company's mission or what you provide or the way you treat your employees a type of company that they want to essentially work with and give their money to? And a website can do both of those really well. So what else should we talk about?
I think that it's important to talk about this point that you were starting to make, where it sounds like what you're saying is your website becomes your new front door. So you have this
definitely.
website where people are reaching out and wanting to meet you or meet your business, but they then should or could have the opportunity to meet you as well.
Definitely. Yeah. So I see a website as being sort of a way to open up a conversation. And of course, the bare minimum, what you need to have is your own contact information on your website. So phone number, and the phone number should be easy to find. I always say you should put it in the header, in the footer somewhere. One thing that's interesting to share is having a contact page that has your phone number on it as well. A lot of people will Google the name of your business and the word contact because they really, if it's something urgent and they want to get a hold of somebody, they're trying to find you quickly. Mm-hmm. So to have that is important. And a lot of companies, which is great, have contact forms, which are give me your information and then I'll get back to you. And as we see people are moving digital more and they're not always able to pick up the phone, that was sort of the natural progression on, I need help, I'm going to reach out to that business. But what has happened over time is I think people become nervous if they have something they need quickly to put their contact information in, because there's really no sort of agreement from that business on who's going to get back to them and when they're going to get back to them. So what ends up happening is you fill out, 5 contact forms because your furnace is broken, and it's sort of like whoever gets back to you first wins, which isn't really the way. As a business owner, you want people to feel it's not a lottery. You want them to come to your website and think, I want to work with this business and I want to get a hold of them now. So a great way to do that is through chat. And I think that's a good segue to talk to someone. And I'm really passionate about chat. You can ask these girls. I go off about it.
Can confirm. It's a beautiful thing. It's a thing we love about you. But
I love it because it creates that a similar scenario as when you go into a store that you're trying to buy something that you've never purchased before, or if you're trying to get a service that you don't know, and somebody asks you simple questions like they would if you called their phone number, which is, how can I help you? Are you finding what you need? Hello. That feeling of being welcomed is very important in a storefront or an office case, definitely on the phone. And by using chat is how you can do it on your website. I'm sure everyone on this has seen before, a little pop-up on the website, a nice greeting.
Oh, wait.
Oh, do we have
wait 1 second. Let me see.
Have one to show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It might block Heather, your face, but let's go.
That's
Boom.
Okay.
There it is.
I don't know how to do this mirror thing.
So this is an example of, this can pop up on your website and get someone to help if they initially engage with it. There's also ways that you can be the one that initially pops up to say, Hi, we're so happy you're here. Welcome to our website. Are you finding everything you need? Do you have any questions? How can I help you today? And those types of conversational ways that are disruptive a little bit in nature, but in a positive way to say, do you need help? If the answer is yes, then your company has created a connection with that potential customer well beyond a company that doesn't, that may just have the services page and then a giant contact form that has no sort of service level agreement, which is we'll contact you in this amount of time. Time is of the essence if your sink is leaking. So, but even so, from a service-based business perspective, people are going to want to ask some initial questions or make sure they're a fit before they might call a number. And just being there for them and helping them get additional resources from your website, essentially being sort of that guide of how they can engage with your website. It just really is that welcoming way, that greet, seat, and treat mindset, and that's how you can do it on your website.
That's great. And it adds that wow factor of, oh my gosh, this person's actually available for me to ask this question. And I think that's becoming more and more of an expectation for a certain subset or portion of consumers in general. I know that Gianna, you and I have talked about this. Heather, you and I have talked about this. Some people only want to chat. Some people only want to go to your website and connect with people there, and other people still prefer the phone call. But either way, you have the opportunity to create a meaningful impression and draw people into you, into your business with both channels. And they're both important. And ignoring either one of those, or not putting your best foot forward and providing that consistency piece, to your point, Gianna, you can miss out. You can miss out on opportunities to wow the customers you already have, and also on new business.
Right. The lead piece is key. I talk to people daily who sign up for the chat service that have been longtime receptionist customers, and they get chat on their website, and they're like, well, because it's a wonderful resource just for analytics alone. Like, if you have chat on your website for 2 weeks, you will see whether or not there is a drive for it. You will see whether or not people do want that to pop up and pass in their information. And so many folks I talk to end up saying, yeah, we actually were missing a ton of leads we didn't even know because we didn't think that this mattered. And all three of us are millennials, so we can say it matters. It's a thing that we all want for the most part.
Absolutely. And I got really excited. I'm sorry I put my hands up when you were speaking.
No, I love this.
We have a question from the audience.
Quest away.
This is a great question. This is from Tyler Blackwell. He says, if my hours or services change suddenly, what's the best way I can communicate that quickly to people looking for my business? Heather, do you want to talk about Google My Business?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you can change your hours of operation on your Google profile. Is a great place to start, so it's quick. You can also, I would recommend, especially during COVID, if you have the ability to change what the front page of your website is, the first page, so people can quickly know, oh, now we're closed on Saturdays, or we're only open by appointment, or those types of things to let them know. And then also make sure it's changed within your chat. So if you have a chat solution that has those, FAQs that you program in, make sure if you change it, you can go back. So if somebody asks in the chat, are you open today, that you don't give them the wrong answer if you are closed. So just ensuring when you are making changes, you put it everywhere that people might be looking.
That is super important. And also, Gianna, how do we do that with Ruby? I think if your hours are changing suddenly, that might indicate that something is not, it wasn't predictable. So it might not be great, or you as a business owner might be taking care of some other things that really need your attention. Gianna, what do receptionists do, and how do we help that, or with something like Ruby's virtual receptionist service, to inform people who are calling?
Absolutely. Yeah. The first step, super easy, email customer happiness for chat or reception if you have us. if you tell us that things have changed, we're going to put a banner across your reception or chat side. Either way, whatever pops up in front of receptionists, we have the ability to automatically say, hey, things have changed. So it kind of is what would pop up on your website for your new clients is going to pop up the same for receptionists within our software, letting them know that things have changed and that callers might be inquiring about that. That's been a huge key thing during the pandemic, especially just the influx of we're closed indefinitely ? Like we don't really know what's happening. And so being able to just let people know that, I think that Heather and I were talking about this the other day. It's just like when you do have something pop up on your website that says things have changed, it's an immediate like confidence instilling moment of, oh, they're telling us this, like they're on top of this. I can trust them with this. They want my business. They want to tell me what's going on. Similarly, when you let us do that for your customers via phone and chat, it is the same. It's a lot of confidence.
Absolutely. And on a really basic level, like having virtual receptionists or just someone answering your phone when you can't makes it so that you aren't just sending somebody to ring and like sending someone to a line that's essentially going to ring into perpetuity because you're busy doing other things. Mm-hmm. And you also get like, you also can't be the person answering all the time if you have other things in your life that you're dealing with. So just having the knowledge that someone is able to answer your phone and let your customers and prospects know what is happening, or just to feel heard, like, I'm going to take a message. I think that those are big, small, but really big ways to control your customer experience, even when you cannot, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that a voicemail is similar to a contact form in a way of the customer who is in this time of urgency is putting their vulnerability of their contact information out there, and they really don't have an idea of if or when you're going to get back to them.
Right.
And
or
so
where it's going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great points. Thank you so much for that question, Tyler. I think that was an important bit for us to talk about. Here's another good one. I love questions from the audience. I'm already using Ruby to answer my phone. Is chat supposed to replace that, or is it in addition? I think we've kind of gone over that, but I think it'd be worthwhile talking through it one more time. And how do they work together? Gianna?
Yeah, they work together beautifully. Also, I mean, to Marky's point earlier too, they're not supposed to replace each other because people want alternate modes of communication. I remember when we released our texting feature back in 2018, it was like, oh yeah, people want to text businesses and text business owners. And so we need to develop this secondary route. Chat was very much in the same vein of there are going to be people like Marky and I who will probably only pick up the phone. And there's going to be people like Heather and my husband who will never, ever call anybody because they don't either want to do the awkward phone thing or they have children. They just like don't want screaming in the background. So they're very much meant to be, they're not mutually exclusive. They're meant to go in tandem just so you're capturing leads on either end. And quite literally, they go together in that, at least on Ruby's end, we have the ability to do live chat and also do call connection. So while we're capturing your leads live on your website, if the caller is a warm lead and they want to talk to somebody, the chat specialist will take down their information and let them know they'll be contacted shortly. They send that over to our chat reception team, who then calls that person, welcomes them via phone, creates that warm experience, and lets them know, okay, one moment while I get you connected to our scheduling specialist, or however you want them to refer to you. And then they'll call you directly and let you know, hey, I have Mary on the line with a potential new client inquiry for your law firm. All of these things. And then you can say, great, let's go. You get a warm lead served right up to you from your website to your phone. So they're absolutely meant to work together and work best when they do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gianna, for your knowledge on all things telephone and chat. This has been awesome. I think we are about to run out of time. But before we do go, we have this for you. This is what I meant. This right here. So we've been talking about chat a lot, as well as customer experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a couple of links into this chat so that people have them available to them. But this one is our chat guide. So this is just a relatively quick read on the state of chat and the state of chat in terms of customer experience, as well as on the business side of things. That was created, I think, within the last 3 months. So it is COVID relevant and will be relevant into business, we believe, moving into the future. So it's a super good read, relatively quick. And then also I'm going to drop in the customer service audit download link, so that if you guys are still interested in talking about or looking at or reading all things customer experience for the people who trust you, to do what you do best, by far one of the largest pieces of content that I've ever seen in terms of its checklist ability to get you and your customer experience where it needs to be. All right.
That's beautiful.
I think I am done talking. I've been talking a lot. Thank you guys so much for being here. Heather, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Gianna, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.